Okay, looks like we're live on Facebook. And welcome, Jess. Thank you for joining us at Check the Gate.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Now, you're in Los Angeles,
I am.
and I'm here in New York. And even though it's 3 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I like starting off with a little wine. Would you be interested in either white or red?
Sure, I'll take some red. That would be great. Thank
Red,
you.
okay, great. I have some Josh wine here. And, the founder, Josh Carr, is from our area. I've got it in this like ball glass. Is that good? Is that
You know, I actually prefer to drink it out of a mason jar, so that's
okay?
perfect.
Well, it just
Yeah.
so happens that, here you
Oh,
go, all the way from New York.
thank you so much. I really
You
appreciate
got it?
that. Thank you. I got it. I got it. Thank
Oh,
you
there
so
it is.
much.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
It was a far reach, but you know what? We did it.
We
Thank
did
you
it
so
again.
much.
Movie magic happens again right here. And I'm going to join you while I just say a few opening remarks and welcome everyone to Check the Gate, one-on-one with the Northeast Filmmakers Lab. This is supported by the Capital Cinema Cultural Exchange, the nonprofit charitable organization that supports emerging filmmakers to complete and present their works through this very challenging and rapidly changing media landscape that we're in. We do this through the Northeast Lab. And I happened to be at Sundance this year, and it was just a great experience on Main Street. All the different shops are opened up and supported by the industry. And one of them is the Sundance Co. And before we go there, though, Jess, I've got to thank some of our sponsors and remind people that if they'd like to, they can make a donation to cinemaexchange.org/donate. Special thanks to a co-producer, Eric Bohlweiler, and Tammy Reese, our publicist and behind-the-scenes student intern, a Great Dane from the University of Albany's Luke Williams. He's helping allow everyone to come in today. Today's sponsors include Price Chopper, Market 32, not just in your neighborhood, but your neighbor, Albany Wine and Dine, and the folks at Crew Me Up, building a digital community for filmmakers to connect, create, and collaborate. Crew Me Up. Next Tuesday, we'll be here with Josh Friedman. And later this Thursday, Why Invest in the Arts? It's already sold out. We're really excited about that. And but people can join on Facebook Live. So hopefully that's working. I hope someone can send me a note, just let me know. But for those that don't know, check the gate is a term when the gate is good. Back in the movie days when we shot in film, I worked on a picture called Frozen River, and I was on Super 16, shot in upstate New York. And we always check the gate, and then you'd hear the DP would check it and say, the gate is good, production's move forward. So, and with that, let's move forward. Today's guest, Jess Fuselier, sorry, I botched that up. Fuze-I-lay, Jess Fuselier is a community outreach marketing and data specialist living in Los Angeles, senior manager of research and education for the Sundance Institute. Jess is working to cultivate meaningful insights rooted in data transparency in order to create resources that impact the sustainability of the independent film community at large. You know, filmmakers, I think more and more we need to love data and make decisions based on data. So I'm really excited about where you're going to be taking us. Folks, please post your questions in our chat or on Facebook. Before we leap into the Sundance collab, it's collab, is it?
It is.
Collab.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what, short for collaboration?
Absolutely, yeah.
And could you talk a little bit about the impact of COVID on you, on the collab, on your work?
Sure.
Where, it's kind of like that 9/11 thing, like where were you when that hit?
Well, I can tell you it's had a profound impact on us in a lot of different respects. First and foremost, it's been an incredible, heartbreaking impact on a lot of our artists. And, we've been doing a lot of rapid response work within the Institute to figure out how we can best support our artists during this very challenging time for them when productions are shut down. They don't have access to their collaborators. They can't, even the creative juices are, sometimes not flowing in moments like this when there's high stress and high anxiety. So, that's been our primary focus, is figuring out how to best support our artists during this time. As an institute, it's also, we're trying to figure out, how to stay in touch with our artists, how to stay in touch with our audience during this time as well. We're so fortunate for a platform like Collab. This was started before COVID, well before COVID. It was started as a way, for us to connect with more audience or with more artists than we could in real life experiences that, have become so signature to the Institute. It's amazing to have that, and for those to be going on for so many years, decades now. But we are really craving the opportunity to connect with more artists around the world. And so that's kind of how Collab was born. And we're very fortunate to have that space now, where, we have a digital community that we can provide educational content for artists. We can provide a space for them to connect in the virtual space, and bounce ideas off of one another during this challenging time. So we're very grateful for that infrastructure that we have.
It's amazing the synchronicity of this, the creation of Collab. When I was out there in January and I saw this, and I was like, oh, I've got to tell everybody back here in the Northeast that this resource exists. We're entering into our 7th year as a film lab here in the Northeast, and we take 10 to 12 projects a year for a 3-day intensive. But our job, I think, is to partner with resources. And when I saw the resource, I said, boy, we don't have to create this. And I think Sundance did something kind of unique too. You lowered the bar and you eliminated some of the cost for access. And that was one of the first things I said, wow, that's really cool. Was that also in response to COVID, making sure that filmmakers got connected?
Absolutely. It was a very, at the start of it, it was a very accessible platform. And we even, like you said, have opened up that access even more since the pandemic. So, our master classes, our webinars are free, which, for a period of time, which that wasn't the case before. But at the core of all of this, we always wanted this to be an accessible platform, no matter what challenges we were dealing with as a society. It's all about being able to connect and engage and build a community. And so, at the very impetus, we had that in mind, and that was at the core of everything. And so you'll see that a lot on the platform is open access, is free. And all you have to do is just sign up on the platform in order to get access to it. And there's a wealth of information and resources on the platform.
And these are the top people in the industry. It's just amazing. I can't wait till we get there and show people what it looks like and how to navigate it.
Yeah.
But before we go there, could you talk a little bit about your background? What did you do pre-COVID, pre-Collab? You've got a rich babackground in arts as well as in understanding filmmaking and audiences, and really just people to you just love people and you love technology and you brought them together.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to make it as abridged as possible because I've had quite a twisty-turvy
I've got some wine here, so
okay, great. Yeah, me too. We're both prepared.
Yeah,
so
hopefully everybody else is taking time to get a drink.
Yeah. So my first profession was as a professional ballet dancer. So I was in the arts myself as a creator. I went to school once I finished my dance career at a very early age. I went to college for sociology and public policy, and started kind of working in the community organizing nonprofit space. During that time, I did community organizing and outreach on film sets, which was actually a very eye-opening experience. And we were building a new program where basically we were creating ways for the production to give back to the community more than just increasing their tax revenue for a certain period of time. So we would help with fundraisers, the actors would donate talent, we were able to help nonprofits keep their doors open. So I really saw the power of film and community outreach. And so at a certain point, I realized that having a digital presence, no matter what, whether it was for a film, whether it was for a nonprofit, it was really important to, progress anything forward, to have a well-curated presence in that space. And so I wanted to learn how to help with that and do that myself. So I went to a boot camp, learned how to code, worked as a coder for about 4 years with a digital agency and then a startup. And I managed, a big piece of my job was actually managing our analytics accounts and kind of looking at user behavior and helping to optimize platforms based on that behavior. And so then I just took a step back and I was like, how can I marry all of this together and find a dream job where I can do all of this and get back to helping artists? And then that's when I found the opportunity at Sundance, and I've been there ever since.
Was all of this taking place in Austin, Texas, or someplace in Texas where you first learned that you got exposed to film sets and coding?
Yeah, thank you for bringing it back to my roots, Mike. Absolutely, I am a Texan by heart. I was born and raised there. I've been living in Los Angeles for about the past 5 years now. But yes, most of this was happening in Austin, and then recently moved to LA.
There's some great filmmaking that comes out of Austin, and
an incredible community there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, just to digress, but the executive of the AIVF Salon, which we were a part of, came out of Texas. This is going back 20 years ago, but there's always enough, it's just always, it's always neat to see where filmmakers come from, and the idea that a lot of us are alike. We really want to help grow the industry and support, the industry. Is this a good time for us to jump into the website and talk a little bit about it? Okay.
Let me
hand the keys over to you at this point.
I'm going to share my screen for a second. So give me a moment. Let me just get everything set up.
Sure. And I'll encourage others that if they want to make a donation to us, they can. They also can learn more about us at cinemaexchange.org.
1 second. Sorry, this is
no problem.
Taking a moment.
So folks, if you have questions, feel free to post them. If there are any questions on Facebook, I can't see them, so post them here.
All right, I think we got it figured out now.
Oh, sweet. There we go.
Here it is. All right. So this is the collab site. We have a ton of different opportunities, a ton of different ways to engage with the community on this site. As you see, we have the 3 main sections across the top: learn, share, and connect, which is really the ethos of this platform. As I was talking about, there are numerous resources that are, free and open access. We have our video library, which we'll share a video with you in just a moment, so you can kind of get a sense of what those are like. These videos are anywhere from kind of like 2 to 10 minute long videos, and we're diving in with Sundance advisors and filmmakers. So you really get incredible access to the Sundance community through these videos. We have resources, written resources that either, we've created internally, or, other sources that we know and love that we feel are putting really great resources out there. We curate those. We have some learning pathways, which are kind of like an entry point into kind of broader topics. So, we have one on directing, we'll be having one on producing down the line. And this is basically pulling in a lot of different content that lives on the site that pertains to those bigger themes, and kind of gives you an entry point into how we explore those themes on the platform. And then, we have online events that are happening through the platform, like the webinars that we're talking about. We have our master classes, which are a little bit of a deeper dive into a topic. So imagine a webinar, but, kind of a more robust webinar where you're spending, an hour and a half, anywhere from an hour and a half to maybe even 3 hours on a topic, really diving in. And then we have our courses. So, those are the one thing, the kind of like the one component right now, that is, for a fee, but you'll see that they are very, very in depth. And you actually are in a class with people once a week. You're, going back and forth with an advisor. You're working on assignments together. So it's a really incredible way to take a very deep dive into a specific topic, whether that's horror writing or creative producing, or, the basics of screenwriting. We've done a lot of really awesome courses, and our instructors are just really fantastic. So, and then we also have sharing. We have a way where you can share your work and get feedback from the community, as well as monthly challenges. We have a challenge that we pose. We have one challenge that we pose every month. You can submit your work, and then we pick winners at the end of every month. And then we have a way to connect. We list events that are happening, either Sundance events, or, like I said, partner organizations that we know and love that are doing really great events, opportunities. This is our place to let you know what opportunities are open through the Institute, whether that's a granting opportunity, a labs application opportunity, in addition to other opportunities that are out there in the field. And then we have, advisor Q&A, where you can ask questions of our advisors. And then we have forums as well. So I'll just kind of scroll through the site a little bit and click into a few different areas so you can get a feel for the site. But this is the main page. Like I said, we have this learn section where you can kind of dive into these different areas. I'll click into the masterclass tab so we can see it. But as you can see, here are some of the master classes that we've had in the past. And once a masterclass happens, it's archived, so you can go back and view it and take advantage of it. One we had recently that was really popular was, creating branded content, and that was with Refinery 29. And then, we had one going from short to feature with a filmmaker that I absolutely love. And if you're interested in a very DIY approach to filmmaking, please follow Jim Cummings. He's really fantastic, and also a very down-to-earth human being. And then, we had one on comedy writing. So you can see we're getting pretty detailed with the topics that we're diving into. And again, just really great access to advisor communities, and then also, other partners.
I signed up, sorry to.
No, go for it. Yeah.
I signed up for the Masterclass Film Music, creating the soundscape for your film. Now, I don't compose, but I thought as a director, writer, it would be helpful for me to learn like that aspect, and it's right there, and I just need to turn it on and listen. And you got yourself a master's class that's recorded there from some of the best, either composers or comedy writers or
Yeah, and even for like nonfiction filmmakers, for instance, that having a master class with Roger Ross Williams, it's it's pretty incredible access that you have to this community. So I just want to jump into you know, this learning pathway area that I was talking about, just so you can kind of see. You know, we have one on directing and screenwriting, and like I said, we'll have one on producing. But these are you know, pulling in all of these amazing resources that we have on the platform, and it's kind of you know, go at your own pace, but it takes you through different videos, different prompts, different written resources about it, broken up into sections, and it's you know, you can, and it also has like the Get Practical, where you're going through specific assignments. So it's a really great way to kind of have that first entry point into a topic, and then maybe from there you want to explore a masterclass, and then maybe from there you want to explore a course. Like there's a lot of, you know, it's a kind of a choose your own journey on this site. But there's
So
a
where
lot of
you are
ways.
right now and all this stuff, that's no charge to.
Yes, the learning pathways are free and open, as long as you're signed up on the platform. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Um,
The cost is your email.
yes, exactly. But we do not, we are very protective
Yep.
over data.
Yep.
We do not sell data. You know, this is just our way of, you know, being able to communicate with our community. But please know that we are very mindful of your personal information, and that is never something that we take lightly. We are very protective of that.
That's good. No.
And so I'll just dive into a couple more of these, if you don't mind, Mike, just to kind of give the full snapshot of all of this. I just want to jump into the video library. So this is the video library that I was talking about. These are short learning videos that we've handcrafted within the Institute, and it, you know, it's again just really amazing access to our community, kind of diving into these topics. You can see Taika talking about kind of going from indies to Hollywood. We had one where we captured a panel at the festival where it was the future of indie TV with Steven Soderbergh. And then
I
we
was sure
had,
that year.
yeah, it was a great panel.
Yeah.
We also have Breaking into TV writing with Lena Waithe and Tom Fontana. So again, and the future, new frontier storytelling at the intersection of art and technology with Kamal Sinclair. She's, you know, she used to be the director of our New Frontier Labs, and she is now a consultant and kind of working in this space, but that's an incredible one if you're interested in kind of emerging media. So again, like, you know, dive in, you know, if you have an hour to just like binge watch some short learning videos, please do it. They're also very entertaining. And then the one other thing I want to jump into really fast is just the courses, just so you can see, and then
Okay, good.
I'll show the Mike Plant video if that works for you, Mike. So here's our courses page. So this is what I was talking about. You know, this is the one piece that you know, you need to pay for. The reasoning for that is it's you know, it's a lot of work. You know, where it's pairing advisors with students and building out weekly schedules, and so you know, we just want to make sure that we can keep it going in that way.
So Jess, got a question that's come in
Yeah.
along those lines, and I'll just reiterate that, you know, one of the things we call this check the gate one-on-one with the Northeast Filmmakers Lab, because we have polled our filmmakers, and what they want out of everything, panel discussions, small group, is they want that one-on-one attention. If you take this course, are these big courses, or do these ultimately move towards sort of that closer one-on-one, not hand-holding, but one-on-one interaction with industry experts?
Yes. So you're in a class environment with them on a weekly basis.
Mhm.
So you're in that virtual classroom. You're interacting with your classmates as well as the instructor for that course. And then we have advisors giving feedback on work through those courses. You have a time to connect with those advisors as well throughout the course. So yes, this is kind of that more one-on-one style course-like environment. And I do want to mention that we do have that share your work feature as well, which you can share your work, just a single piece of work on the platform and get feedback. That is, part of our subscription. That's, I believe we have that at $10 a month, which that gives you a really great way if you just have a single piece of work that you want to get feedback on, and you're not looking to fully commit or dive into a course. That's a great way to get feedback as well. But these courses are very in depth.
So a filmmaker who has a short film and wanted to get some feedback on it for $10, he could put it into this forum, and without having to join the course and get industry feedback on something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the way. So I'll show you. Let me pull this up. I believe I'm.
This is an incredible resource.
Yeah, it really is. So let me go into this. I need to sign in. But essentially, yeah, this is the share your work feature is a part of our membership, which that is $10 a month. So yeah, if you sign up at that $10 or $99 annually, if you sign up at that, then yeah, that gives you that access to share a piece of work. And we're not at a stage where we have the capacity to say, watch a feature length film and give feedback on it. But yes, a short film, an excerpt of a script, a brief treatment, like we can, that's the perfect space for that. So if it's okay with you, Mike, I would love to share that video if that works for you so people can kind of see.
Yeah, this video caught my eye, and we've got a lot of short film makers, and the question is, what is the selection process for Sundance, and how does it work? And this video is right up front and sort of fills filmmakers in. I know a handful just here in our area that would love to. I think this video will help them out a lot.
Amazing. So let me just sign in really quickly.
Yep.
You'll see my email address, but that's okay. You can email me if you want.
Oh, that'd be great. In fact, that's what people wanted to know, if they could follow up with you if they have any questions.
Absolutely. I'll actually give you a better email address. I'll give you my Sundance email address, which I'm much better at answering. So let me just get this.
And maybe we can type it here in the chat section.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, I'm on slow Wi-Fi.
No problem.
So while that's loading, let me just show you a couple other sections on here. So this was the other section that I was talking about in terms of, we have resources on the site that we curate.
Oh, yeah.
So these are all written resources, blogs, reports, interviews, that either, we've created in-house or we've curated. You can see that right now we have a strong emphasis on COVID-19 related resources. We just want to make sure that our artists are, up to date on all of the resources out there.
I just want to jump in here. I'm so glad you brought us to this page, because I discovered it last night while I was, just poking around. And then I really spent some time, because you have, this is looking backstage, like you've got the Creative Capital's list of arts resources. And any arts organization out there would, I think, love to go there. You've got resources from various states. Mm-hmm. You've got resources for musicians, blues musicians, screenwriters specific to a particular city. So if people are, if filmmakers are out there watching this, go to this page because you're going to find it all in one place.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And this is something that we've been curating since day one of this site.
Yep.
So we have a ton of content on here. And I think sometimes, sometimes this section gets overlooked just because
Right.
we love watching videos. But there's also so much content and just incredibly helpful resources in this section.
Before you move away, okay, but just
Yeah.
there was there you go, Film Festival Alliance.
Yes.
I was on a call last week, a Zoom participant with Woodstock Film Festival, and they had Eugene Hernandez and IFC, and I think a distributor, but they were talking about the state of film festivals. And one of the things they're looking at in New York, they alluded to, is this conversation that film festivals are having, which is what's the viability of everyone surviving this, and or is there a way for us to collaborate and just support each other?
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear anything about that from your end, or how can film organizations, film festivals be working together? Is that what this virtual roundtable might be about?
I didn't, I haven't sat in on these specific virtual roundtables with the Festival Alliance. But I will say this, on a daily basis, we are, connecting with other festivals, other organizations, hearing what they're going through, seeing how we can work together to, help keep doors open and make sure the support is there for artists. So those are conversations that are happening every single day, every hour of the day. I'll give you a specific example of something that has been interesting to see in terms of the distribution space. And that's a lot of independent distributors are starting to partner with art house theaters on virtual theatrical screenings. And so, they're basically saying, whatever art house theater you decide to buy that, virtual screening ticket through, a portion of the ticket sales, go to that art house. And so that's an interesting way where distributors, they know, and they rely on that art house infrastructure. They rely on those cinemas, and just like we love going to the movies, distributors don't want to see those theaters going away, because they can't keep their doors open during these hard economic times. So that's a specific example of, two sides of the industry working together to hopefully help, keep those doors open and keep those theaters alive. So I think, as we all start to kind of wrap our head around the broader implications of this pandemic, I think we'll definitely start to see more of those, collaborative efforts and ideas. And, we're constantly in touch with, other organizations to figure out what those may be.
Well, that makes sense, because the curators at those art houses, they come to know their audience, and they might even know people by name, and then they can also reach out via email and say, hey, this is coming to our theater, check it out. And they have that direct, they may have that direct relationship with that moviegoer that just loves independent film.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have that membership base. Yeah, for sure. So what I'm going to do is, unfortunately, my internet has stalled out on that one tab. So I'm just going to search for the video on this tab, which we should be able to pull up.
For some reason, we need to try it on this side. If you guided me, I'd be willing to do that. So.
Yeah. This just, let me see. Let me refresh this page and see if it pulls back up. It's my internet that's giving me trouble. Actually, let me do it this way. I'm a little bit outside of Los Angeles, and so I'm not in the fast internet speed, but
the pipeline.
1 second. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So, we have CR Capers who's watching. She's with the Harlem Film House,
Of course, yeah.
and she's one of our mentors. And
That's amazing. Hey, CR.
yeah,
We've
so
we've been on calls together.
we love CR and we love what they're doing. She says, "Hey,
Absolutely.
girl."
Hey, I wish I could see your face right now. I'm waving. Okay, so this is stalling out. Let me stop sharing for a second to pull that video up, and then we can go from there. But I also want to point out the fact that, and I'll pull it up when I share my screen again. I think the opportunities section that we have too is a really great resource, because that's a section where we are, sharing opportunities that are out there for filmmakers and creators. It's not just film specific. That the opportunities that are available to them in the moment, and so we have granting opportunities. We have a lot of relief funding opportunities that are posted up there. So that's another free and open resource for artists to check out on the site as well. So definitely check that out. But are there any other questions while I'm getting this up and running?
Let me just check. No questions here, group. I'm working on it. I'll just throw this out. I'm working on a documentary on the student loan debt crisis. And so someone like myself, if I wanted to get connected to somebody in the fiction department here, I would go online and I could pay that $10. I could put out a 3 to 5 minute clip there and share it. Is there anything else that comes to you that would be a resource to someone like myself as a filmmaker with a work in progress?
Well, I do want to say, okay, I got the video. 1 second. Sorry, everybody. I will load that up in just a second. I do want to say that we also just started writers cafes on the site too. So that's a way where you can go into a virtual space and bounce ideas off of one another, and basically like mirror, being in a writing room with a bunch of
a writer's hangout where people
exactly
work on your particular scene.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's another really great way to connect. And we have our community spans over 150 countries, and we have over 10,000 users on the platform. So you have a large community to tap into from all over the world.
All right, so we haven't talked much about this, but I'm just thinking, if you're a filmmaker, and filmmakers love to promote another filmmaker's work, particularly if they've been a part of it in some way. Mm-hmm. You're saying that there's a way for me to find other filmmakers in other countries. And
there's a way to connect with them, absolutely, through Collab.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, I love being able to promote someone's film and just, putting a post here in upstate New York if it's available online, or so that's another huge asset.
Yeah.
You quickly now fall into the global international community of filmmakers, producers, writers, directors, documentary filmmakers.
Yeah, and a way to collaborate, which it kind of breaks down those walls and allows you to connect. So I have the video. Let me go and share my screen so we can play this real quick. All right. So here we go, everybody. This is with our own Mike Plant, senior programmer with the Institute.
And we need audio.
There's 10 programmers, and we're all from totally different wild backgrounds, and we're different ages. And so when there's a short that I don't feel a connection to, but two other programmers really like it, then I know, oh, that's good, then we should show it. It's never about the filmmaker. We don't do research on the filmmaker because the audience won't. The audience comes and sits down and has an experience. And so we try to have that too. We do watch every film all the way through because I get paid to do it. Like, my parents both had government jobs. I know how great I have it. I have no problem watching all the way through. We don't look for anything. Like, I don't need to show a certain type of film to make anybody happy. In the short film program, it doesn't help to know us. Ask any friend. They probably have been rejected a lot. By the way, I make a ton of shorts and feature documentaries, and I've been rejected so many times. The most common problem with short films is people try to replicate the feeling of a feature film. So your idea is probably really good at 8 minutes, but you want to put so much more into it. You want to show off some skill. You like the story, but you feel you're worried the audience won't get it. And then suddenly your film that's great at 8 minutes is now 25 minutes, and it drags for people. You should make your short film whatever length it dictates by the reason you're making it. So if your story makes sense at 15 minutes, then you should make a 15-minute film. The chances of a film getting into more festivals are higher when it's shorter because I can put a short in front of a feature or in a program. So there's more opportunities, but that doesn't mean we force it either. If a film's 5 minutes and it's not great and not successful, we're not going to show it either. I think the most successful short films that create their own world do it in a comfortable way. If I'm watching a film that is going to be about teenagers, then of course the actors, they don't have to be young, but they should feel young. They should seem young, the way they talk, the things they do. Sometimes we'll see films and it's just they got the most professional actor possible and it feels like an actor. It doesn't feel like a real kid or a real person. And the acting is almost probably the most important thing because you can have an incredible set design. You can go to a really special location. You can have a huge jib and really fancy camera work. And if the acting seems fake, then everything else doesn't matter. I mean, I wish I could say, use this camera. Everybody good uses this camera. But everyone we talk to, they don't even remember what camera they use. Or they use 4 cameras because that's what they could borrow. If you're choosing music to go into your short film, don't use Radiohead or the Rolling Stones. Like, you're not going to get them. If you put a Rolling Stone song in your short, then I was going to think about the 3 Scorsese films that use the same song. And it's not your song. It takes away from what you're trying to do. If filmmakers can use friends that are real musicians and want to be composers, that's always the best way to go. That's so much more creative juices in the mix too. The one main thing we try to tell filmmakers, especially with shorts, is that whatever's in your backyard is very special. We all grow up with movies and we want to be part of it, and then we try to replicate it, and it's very difficult because it's someone else's voice. It's a budget level you can't get. It's shot in a place of the world that you can't get to, and we try to worry too much about that when someone in your family owns a cool place that you could use as a set. Something that happened in your past may be totally boring to you, but it's really unique and special to other people. And that's a story you should tell. Why make it hard when you're starting out? Do what you know, experiment. If it doesn't work, do it again, film it again, do it a different way. Just keep going and try not to spend too much money.
I love that video. And, it debunks so many things. And look at this. It's got a summary afterwards of what you just been told. That's great. I'm going to borrow that and share it with some of our filmmakers.
Yeah, it's you know, we love these videos. We feel like they really distill a lot of really great information, very, in kind of bite-sized ways, and ending with those key takeaways. We want to make sure that we're giving something tangible to the audience. So that's just one example. And, like we said, there's a whole host of different videos on the platform. So yeah, check it out.
There's such a ton of information out there, Jess. We've got a couple questions here for you. What are some aspects of CoLab that you have seen having increased activity over these past few weeks? And this comes in from Julie McElmurray.
Hey, Julie. I know Julie. Oh my gosh. Hi. So great to hear from you. So I would say I'm going to type my email address into the,
Oh, thank you.
so everybody has that. Something that's been really cool to see are these writers cafes that are really taking off. We have a lot of people jumping in there and collaborating with one another. So I would say, those types of opportunities to collaborate with other creators. We've seen an uptick, but that's always been that's always been a very kind of like popular component of this community, and it's just increased since everything's been happening.
Are there some, we didn't get a chance to talk about working towards your target audience, which is something that, we try to focus on here at our lab. Are there resources that come to mind or case studies that come to mind that the Institute has tried to help filmmakers with? Because it just seems like it's the like what Mike was saying, they focus, at first it's about technology and it's about the location and this, and then you don't even think about getting out to your audience, which is that piece of it.
You're really teeing these up for me, Mike. Thank you for these wonderful questions. So when I first started at the Institute, we had an initiative called the Creative Distribution Initiative. We still do a lot of research, and I think we'll have other ways that we help filmmakers in the distribution landscape in the future. So that work isn't, it's still being done. It's just in a different area of the Institute now. We had a fellowship where basically in lieu of taking an all rights distribution offer, we would provide a grant and access to resources and consultants, and the filmmakers would self-release their film. All of the revenue went into the filmmaker's pocket. The only thing we required was full transparency. And what that allowed us to do was we packaged case studies around each film team's journey and released those free and open to the public, to the field. So I can send those links out to you. They live on CoLab as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
wow.
we have 2, and then 3 will actually be published in probably the next couple of weeks. So the first 2 we started out with was a nonfiction film called Unrest, and then a fiction film called Columbus. And those were Sundance films that came out of the festival. Yeah. And then the 3 that are going to be released soon, which we're very excited for, Thunder Road, was actually a fellow of ours, Jim Cummings, who I was speaking about, and the Vanishing Angle team. They were just incredibly creative with their release and reaching audiences. And so we'll release a case study on that. We also have one on 306 Hollywood, which was a nonfiction film by a brother and sister directing duo, first time feature, and again, very creative audience engagement strategy. And then we have one coming out on The Devil We Know, which is very much an impact documentary about DuPont Chemical and their impact on this country and really all over the globe. And that was a very, they had a robust impact campaign surrounding that film, which obviously had an audience reach component to it. So I'll be sure to share those links with you, Mike, once they're available. But I would say those are some in-depth pieces that we've done that really highlight creative ways filmmakers are using to reach audiences.
Well, you know, that's where you really can speed up your success processes. Study what other people are doing. What are they
Yeah.
doing well? And if you need to do something differently, go invent it.
And I would say one thing in terms of, obviously this pandemic has created a crisis in so many different ways on such massive scales. But one thing it has done is it's really shown us how we can still foster a community and on, you know, in spaces that we didn't focus on that much before. And so, you know, the digital communities that are popping up right now, you look at what's happening on Instagram, you look at what's happening on TikTok, you look at what's happening through Twitch, where people are doing watch parties and engaging with one another. There's some really cool engagement and ways of coming together in those spaces that are happening right now. So that's another thing that I would encourage filmmakers to do is look at what's happening in those spaces, and don't just focus on your medium, on your art form. Look outside your immediate art form. So if you're a filmmaker, look at what musicians are doing, or visual artists, or, you know, it's a community of artists right now, and we're starting to see those lines kind of blur and morph. And I think that there's a lot to be said around the building of community right now and how that's happening.
Yeah, it's really vital. And that sort of hits on our last question here, which is, how is COVID changing the industry? Any further thoughts about that?
Yeah.
You've hit on a lot about the need for community and.
Yeah, I mean, it's changing it it's changing it in so many different ways. You know, it's affecting our support organism and ecosystem in a massive way. You know, there are incredible organizations out there that are doing amazing work in supporting artists. And you know, we hope that we can figure out a way for all of them to be able to continue to do that work, like Sierra Capers, like Julie. They're doing incredible work in their communities, and you know, supporting them during this time is crucial. And, you know, so I think it's affecting that ecosystem. It's also affecting the way we interact with content. You know, I think communities are starting to really dive into digital spaces and figure out ways they can have access to content. So I think we're going to see consumer trends shift. Now, how we see those shift in the coming months and years, that's still, you know, we don't know yet. That's what, you know, keeping our eye on the landscape is going to help with. And then, yeah, I think to this point that you're talking about, I think audience engagement, that's going to shift quite drastically too, in terms of how you can engage with artists. And obviously I do not want to overlook the effect that this is having on artists and their livelihood. You know, and I just want to say that our heart goes out to all artists out there who are struggling right now. And, you know, please look at the resource page on CoLab, where we list all of those COVID relief funds, and, you know, there are webinars happening on how to apply for relief funds. So, you know, we'll continue to post as many of those resources as we can possibly find as well.
Jess, I want to thank you. We are, you know, part of our mission is to empower filmmakers, emerging filmmakers. And, you know, everything you've shared with us today is going to help all of us. And it's, you know, again, you mentioned that resource page. I'm like, oh, people are fighting back. They're going to fight through this. And they're really out there to help filmmakers, pull us together. And I'm just so glad that Sundance has come along with the CoLab and all these resources for us to take advantage of. And I want to thank you for joining us and appreciate your time being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for sharing your contact information. I'd love to stay in touch. I'm certainly going to dive in deeper into all the resources on CoLab. And with that, if there are any final comments from anyone.
I would just say, Mike, thank you for the amazing work that you're doing and keeping this content going for you, your community and beyond, and helping us spread the word about these resources. Thank you. And thank you for all of the filmmakers and artists that you support. And yeah, please, if anybody wants to reach out, if you have specific questions about collab, or if you just want to say, hey, I'm a very approachable person. So please feel free to email me anytime. And thank you all for tuning in.
Jess Fuselier, thank you so much from the Sundance Co Institute. This Thursday, we'll have, please join us for Why Invest in the Arts. We'll have investors and financial experts and a lovely actress, Val Landsberg, from the hit TV show Fame will be with us. That's all this Thursday. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to all our sponsors, Price Chopper, Market 32, Albany Wine and Dine for the arts, the app, Crew Me Up, Connect, Create, Collaborate, crewmeup.com. Again, please share, donate if you can. Enjoy Josh Wines. Be well, stay healthy, stay connected. This is Mike Camoin for Check the Gate. Our gate is good. Moving on, people. Cheers, Jess.
Cheers, Mike.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Excellent.